So far this offseason, we've seen the birth of the Classic Physique division cause new talent to come pouring out of the woodwork and flood onto the pro stage. And if you're one of those fans who likes to keep their eyes open for the next big thing coming down the line, you might want to think about looking into the direction of soon-to-be rookie standout Tino Harris. Earlier this season, Harris really exploded onto the scene with his third-place finish at the Junior Nationals, before following it up with a lights-out performance at the USA Championships a few weeks later, where he won his pro card. Lately, Harris has been leaking some pretty impressive new progress photos left and right, and seems to be looking an awful lot like someone who has plans of hopping on stage one more time before the season winds down. Harris has one of those structures that seems like it was just tailor-made for the Classic Physique division. So if you see him crash the party sometime soon, don't forget, you heard it here first. Speaking of someone who's tailor-made for Classic Physique, a few weeks after making his Classic debut in impressive fashion by bringing home a top 3 Olympia finish, our old friend Sadik Hadzovic doesn't seem like he's missed the beat. This week, new photos surfaced of a flat-out nutty-looking version of Sadik that might arguably be better than the overall package he brought to the Olympia. Over the last few weeks, Sadik hasn't wasted any time getting right back on the warpath, and he really seems to be locked into a systematic groove right now. Every time we see him, he seems to be slowly making the sort of small, subtle improvements that add up to big wins once it's time for the curtain to draw. If a less than 100% Sadik Hadzovic can come in and take top 3 at the Olympia after sitting out the entire season, it's almost scary to think of how much better this guy might get by the time next season finally rolls around. Earlier this week, one of the hardest working men in the business was spotted squeezing a couple of late night training sessions in as he dials up the focus and blasts full throttle through the early part of his off-season programming. Each and every year, Orozco just keeps finding ways to improve, and this year he brought in what was clearly the best overall combination of size and conditioning that we've ever seen. Now that this year's contest season is officially in the books, Orozco can just focus on getting down to brass tacks and keep hammering away as he makes gains for next season. And given the sort of work we've seen him put in over the last few off seasons, I don't have any doubt that 2017 is going to bring out the best Lorenzo Orozco we've seen yet. You can't have a legitimate conversation about the best athletes in the history of bodybuilding without mentioning the name of the most decorated Olympian to ever grace the stage, the incomparable Iris Kyle. Recently, the most dominant woman ever to grace a bodybuilding stage was spotted in the gym, looking as good as we've ever seen her in quite some time, adding fuel to the rumor fire that she's got plans of returning to the stage again. When she shocked the world by announcing her retirement after her record 10th Olympia win back in 2014, Iris was still in a class all of her own in the world of female bodybuilding. And when you go out on top like that, it's hard to imagine that she still wouldn't have one last competitive itch to scratch. And whether or not she actually will decide to dust off the old suit and make another run for old time's sake is anyone's guess right now. But I can tell you for certain that I personally would love to see it happen. It's been a while since we've heard anything from Xavius Gaiden. After starting the year off with a bang with a career-best 9th place finish on the Arnold Classic stage, Gaiden went on to do the real lion's share of work while he was deployed overseas defending our country with the rest of the brave men and women in the armed forces. But now that he's back home, the former top 10 Olympian already looks like he's back to form. In some recent back training footage, Gaiden looks to be carrying as much size as he's ever has, and still seems to be keeping that trademark crazy shape intact. If he's able to stay stateside and focus on getting his groove back, I have no doubt in my mind that we'll see him return to form sometime next season. And that does it for yet another edition of Muscle in the Morning, brought to you by Iron Mag Labs. Make your mark. Check out ironmaglabs.com today. I'm Dave Palumbo, reminding you to always be true to your passions, and make sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.